Hey everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, this is going to be kind of a rant video. Um, I hadn't initially planned to do this video, but this is the, I guess, big week for the opening of the Black Panther movie. There's been a lot of anticipation for this movie, a lot of excitement around it, a lot of just media hype. And, some of it I think is legit, some of it I kind of question. But now we're starting to see what I think is kind of a weird backlash, not the sort of, oh, I saw this movie, it's not all that type of backlash, or this movie really isn't that great type of backlash, but this sort of backlash against people who are excited for it and why and who you think those people are and whatever alleged ulterior motives and stuff like that. So I kind of just wanted to kind of talk about that for a little bit. Now I'll admit when the first teaser came out maybe about a year ago, I saw some people getting really hyped for it then, and they were like, oh yeah, this movie is going to be so great, it's going to be the best thing since, it's going to cure cancer, it's going to win multiple awards and all this. And it's like, man, hold up, the movie isn't going to be out for like almost another year. Let's wait till it comes out and then get excited, okay? But at the same time, I get why people were excited. I get why people who are genuine fans of the character were excited. This is a movie that has been like stuck in development like over like 10 years or so. There were rumors about a Black Panther movie, back when Wesley Snipes was doing the Blade franchise. Of course, like I said, it's stuck in development. It never got project never got off the ground. My understanding is like one or two scripts, between that time and this time have been written, but just nothing happened. You know what I mean? And that's just how it goes. That's movie making. Sometimes people have things planned and for whatever reason they don't get made. It's a similar thing with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is stuck in development. Several projects, live action projects, from movies to various TV shows, were optioned and greenlit and then died. From there's the rumored Josh Whedon thing. There was a thing that David E. Kelly did where they actually shot a pilot for a TV show. There was rumors that Alan, what's his name? Hellenberg? I can't say his name. In my mind, I think of him as the guy who wrote the original version of Young Avengers, and he does TV writing as well. But he was going to do a story that was like the Adventures of Young Diana, and I don't know if they ever shot that pilot or whatever, but it was going to be called Amazon. You've got Smallville, you've got Gotham. This was going to be Amazon or whatever. I think Paul Rudd had some goofy comedy pitch he was doing, but anyway, I'm getting off track. But the point is, that's just how it goes. As you hear about these things with your favorite character, and they were planning on doing it. The options out there. The script and the treatment exist, and you're thinking, man, when are we going to get to see it? So I get why the excitement built up on that level among comic book fans and people who are hardcore fans of the character. Plus, you also had people who maybe are aware of the Black Panther or maybe not. Maybe they saw him on one of these cartoon shows or some comic book their boyfriend or their brother-in-law left laying around. They're not really fans of the comic, but they are fans of all the Marvel movies, and Marvel production logo is on that, and the branding. They're just going because it's a Marvel movie and they're gonna go have fun. And Marvel's been successful in that way. It literally, I say, with the comics, Marvel's just been successful that way in a way that DC Comics hasn't been. There are hit DC movies, there are hit DC TV shows, but people don't think of Supergirl. They don't think DC's Supergirl. They don't think DC's Arrow or DC's Flash. They just think the Flash or the Arrow or Constantine or Gotham or Batman or Supergirl. But when these Marvel things come out, these Netflix shows and these TV shows and whatnot, the fact the Marvel brand is very much front and center. It's very much part of on people's minds. So another Marvel movie is going to be coming out. There are people who are going to be super excited and hyped, and they're going to want to go see it. Plus, excuse me. Plus, it's the first big blockbuster of the year. So Marvel Productions, Disney, etc. have sunk a lot of money, not just into making this movie, but a lot of money into licensing, lots of money into merchandising, lots of money into toys and clothing lines and all sorts of other things that are tangent to the movie. They are really going to do their best to get the property out there in all forms of media, to advertise it in movies, advertise it on television, on the internet, to get all the actors on any talk show that will have them, any live streaming that's going to have them, get whatever write-up they can get it on Time or NPR or whatever, because they got a lot riding on it. They want this to be a money-making machine. So yes, you're going to see it everywhere it's possible to see it, or see, promotion for it. That's what I should say. Then, of course, there's the whole cultural aspect of the film, which is now we're getting into, sensitive or maybe not so sensitive area. I think you get a lot of people who are acting as if this movie is very, revolutionary movie, first big black superhero movie that makes it to the screen. And of course, if you know your comic books, that's not true. If you know movies from the last 20 years, that's not true. Some people I can forgive because some people don't keep up with either and wouldn't know better unless somebody told them. There's some people who actually do know better and are trying to kind of sidestep it and act like it is a revolutionary movie. But we've had things from like Steel to the Blade trilogy, Catwoman, Spawn. Now a couple of those movies really weren't good. You had Hancock. You've got what else? Well, you got like Meteor Man by Robert Townsend, although that was a comedy. You had Blank Man with one of the Williams brothers. That was like a comedy. I didn't even see that one. But yeah, I think what is interesting and what's actually kind of affecting people is you really haven't had it on this scale before. Like I said, you've got, Blade was kind of a modestly budgeted horror action film, you know what I mean? R rating. There was this thing over here, and most people went to go see it just to go see Wesley Snipes kill vampires. It's like after the fact they realized it was based on a comic book character. But here's something that people already, character that people have at least a passing awareness of, and it's being presented with the same sort of hoopla that characters like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, the Avengers had gotten, and that's a little bit different. That's something that people aren't necessarily used to seeing. That's what I think has gotten a lot of people excited, where people are like, oh yes, we finally have this black character, this black superhero. It's not that we finally have a black superhero, but we have this thing being presented in this Hollywood movie that's getting the same sort of promotion and hype that these other quote unquote well, I won't even put it in quotes, other iconic characters are getting. Your Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, those are truly iconic characters. It is being people see this as being put on that same level. It's not a comedy thing over here. It's not a niche thing here. It's somebody that's being presented in the same way that they present A-list franchises, and it's creating, again, with all the marketing and licensing and things like that, kind of a um, cultural moment. It's providing this thing that you can actually share in the same way that you can share in, like I said, Spider-Man or Batman. I mean, people went ape shit during the Michael Keaton Batman movie. It was bat this, bat that, bat this, bat this, Batman cereal, Batman prints, Batman. Everybody's wearing bat symbol T-shirts or whatever. And I think right now with this Black Panther movie, like I said, it's being presented that way that you can enjoy it on that level too. You know what I mean? And that's what people aren't necessarily used to when it comes to black superheroes or black action characters or black science fiction, as it were, being on the big screen. So, like I said, now I think some of the interesting backlash we've got isn't, oh, I see these commercials all the time, I'm sick of it. I see the toys and I'm tired of it. Oh, I go to Target and it's Black Panther cereal or whatever. That's not the backlash I'm seeing. I'm seeing like backlash. Well, I'm seeing it from two places. I'm seeing it from like I want to say like alt-right crowd. That's not quite right, but the so-called skeptic community or whatever, and some of the alt-right crowd, and some of the so-called hoteps, and there's this whole sort of thing like, oh, this movie is out there because of social justice warriors, and no one will give it an honest review, and I've seen things like, this people are going to see this movie because they're racist against white people, and stuff like that. Stuff that just really makes no sense to me whatsoever. I saw a video with Ben Shapiro, and he hasn't seen the movie, so he's kind of fumbling around trying to find something bad to say about it, even though he hasn't seen it. But because these people over here, all these black people are all excited for it, or there's some liberal white people who are into it, there must be something wrong with it. So I just think that's funny. I came across some other one where some guy was like, I don't like superhero movies, but I'm gonna go see because I'm gonna see how obsessed with race they are. And it's like, really? That's what you're gonna do? That's what you're gonna do with your time? You're gonna go see something that you don't normally like, but you're gonna look for things to nitpick if you can to get at somebody over there or something. I don't know, what I mean? But that's where we are, what I mean? Like I said, you have these kind of hoteps out there. These are, for people who don't know, hoteps are African Americans who try to be Afrocentric, and they're very pro-black and super militant about it, but maybe they're not as smart as they think they are about their issues. You know what I mean? So you got those people saying, oh, fellow black people, fight the power, don't go see this Black Panther movie because the creators were two white Jews. Okay, two white Jews, awesome. They created Captain America and Spider-Man. You're not telling me not to go see that movie, but I can't go see the Black Panther movie. And some of these alt-right guys are using the same same argument, ironically enough, ha ha, all you racist black people going to see that Black Panther movie. You didn't know two white Jews created that character, did you? Hoisted in your own petard. And I guess that's kind of what's bugging me about some of the negative reaction I've seen. The negative reaction isn't, oh wow, I went to see that movie and I wasted $8.50. It's not the third act was kind of slow and the special effects are cheesy, or it's not the acting was bad, or the pacing was off, or it's a shit movie. It's not that. It's people being upset because other people are excited to go see something that these people here weren't interested in the first place. This incredible display of pettiness, yet these people are like trying to present it as if they're blowing the lid off some sort of conspiracy, or speaking truth to power or something like that. And I find that disturbing. I find that disappointing. Again, it's one of those things where you wish we could have a more elevated discussion about these things. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it's really probably not going to be revolutionary or groundbreaking in any sort of way. At the end of the day, it's a Hollywood movie based on a corporately owned comic book character, and that's just it. That's just the fact. On the other hand, so what? You know what I mean? If a principal of a school wants to take his class, wants to take some kids from wherever to go see this movie and say, hey, look, here's a role model for you that's not, the guys hanging out on the corner. I fail to see why that's a bad thing. I fail to see why, even if you think everybody's who's excited for the movie is some deluded nerd who needs to go out and learn more about the real world. So what? How does that affect you? You know what I mean? If I eat candy for breakfast, I might be doing myself a disservice. But how does that affect you? You know what I mean? Uh, think of it this way. Remember back when Passion of Christ came out, and a lot of people from the Christian community who don't normally go to see movies went to support that movie because it was a story they knew presented in a way that they could relate to, and yeah, those people went to see that movie. When Tyler Perry first got popular, first got known, he's making these ramshackle, low-budget Medea movies. But who's his audience? His audience, again, was middle-aged black women who go to church. Middle-aged church-going black women. Again, seeing a story that they didn't normally see coming out of Hollywood. I don't see why it's a bad thing for those demographics that those movies are aimed at to get excited to go see those movies. And then here you're talking about Black Panther movie. Yeah, a lot of black people are excited for it, but a lot of white people are excited for it too. Like I said, people who just like going to see action superhero movies are going to see it. People who are old school comic book fans are excited to go see it. So I don't get this whole, and while I get the whole, well, like I said, I get the whole thing of like, oh, it's so overhyped and people are acting like it's going to change the world and stuff. Yeah, maybe we need to calm down just a little bit, but I don't get the whole sort of, you're a bad, all the people who want to go see this movie are somehow bad people. That's the thing I don't get. You're some sort of leftist or some sort of political extremist, or if you're not that, then you're some sort of self-hating black person or some self-hating minority or whatever. So anyway, that's that's pretty much my rant. If you want to read some Black Panther comic books, I would recommend the Don McGregor run, Jungle Action from the 70s, the Christopher Priest run, or at least the first couple of trades from the late 90s, early 2000s. Some people like the Reginald Hudlin run, but I didn't read too much of that. I only read a few issues here and there. And then I'd also recommend like the Jack Kirby run from the late '70s. It's kind of weird and offbeat, and it's not really everybody's cup of tea, but it's zany Jack Kirby stuff, so I'm always down with that. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. You all have a great day.